The easiest way to ruin a football game is to make every game feel the same. But in college football 27, that's not an issue because once again, they took the presentation to another level. So now that I got my hands on the full game, let's look at some of the best presentation details this year. And we got to kick it off with the rivalry game intensity this year. The previous games, rivalries kind of felt the same as every other game, but not this year. You could see the mascot doing the thumbs down, Michigan and Ohio State talking trash in the tunnel to each other. Now they got some more presentation for their matchup just because it's the biggest rivalry, but you'll notice before kickoff, in between plays, you're going to notice a lot more pushing and shoving, a lot more trash talking when you play rivalry games this year, and that is something that really just takes the game to another level in my opinion, because now those big heated matchups now feel that way. You even have more rivalry history presentation, which I love to see. I like reading these types of things that you get before the game, so I just like seeing them add those little extra details. Of course, they also added more rivalry trophies this year as well, like the bronze boot for Colorado State and Wyoming. I know they added a number of other ones, but this is one of the few that I was able to find early. So we got to start here with Texas A&M. You can see they got their nighttime pregame stuff updated with all the light shows and the pyro. Also, take note of the blackout crowd here. We're going to talk about crowd themes a little bit later. They did some more stuff with that, but more teams are going to now have light shows, drone shows, pyros for their night games. They did add some of this stuff in last year. We had it for a few of the bigger schools, but each year they're just going to keep stacking. You see when we go from 25 all the way to college football 27, there's a lot more presentation in terms of pregame traditions and stuff like that, because every year they're just going to keep stacking and adding more. So now a lot more teams are going to have that upgraded nighttime presentation, which just makes games feel special. I mean, you look at all this pyro going off, you look at all the stuff in the sky. When you play a night game, it should feel like a big deal because it is in college football, and now more teams are going to get that presentation in college football 27. Now, if you thought that stuff was good, we got to talk about some more traditions. One of my favorite things added to the game this year, the Baylor upgraded entrance for their games. They've got the Baylor line where the fans run on the field. This is something that had been heavily requested, and they finally got it in the game. So the fans rush the field before the game. They line up and kind of just create like a tunnel type of deal for the team to run out through. So this is an awesome presentation detail. If you're a Baylor fan, I know you're definitely happy to see this in the game. But we got more stuff. Vanderbilt dropping the anchor. You love to see the little details. Again, we got a lot of this stuff in 25 and 26, but they're adding more and more every year. So now every team feels more complete. All kind of run out props. You got Nevada with the shield. So no matter what your team is, you know, at this point, most of them are having these upgraded traditions. You could see more crowd themes going on, which we'll talk about later. We got San Diego State running out with their props. We've got Iowa with the updated tunnel walk that they do. I mean, this just feels like a big time game right here. This is the type of stuff that I really like to see in my sports games. And if we're talking all the traditions and the pregame stuff, we now have banners in the crowd for the student sections. I believe that's where the banners are at, but you could see just a few different examples here. I think there's about 30 plus of these in the game for different schools, so they're going to probably keep adding more and more of these. But again, the crowd is a big part of everything too, and they're continuing to get upgrades. We've also got more band formations added to the game this year. We saw last year they brought them, but this year they're doing them for even more teams. So you're going to see most teams now have some type of a formation before the game, and they make these tunnels and stuff for the players to run out through. So really cool extra attention to detail. So now every school for the most part is kind of getting brought up to that same level of presentation. And we got to talk about the turnover traditions. We've had these since college 25, but every year they add more and more. Now we got the 305 belt for FIU. This might be one of my favorite ones that they added to the game. We can see here for Eastern Michigan, they have one of the more unique ones in college football. They have the Macoon chain is what they call it, I believe, because they play in the MAC division. So that's a pretty cool one right there. One of the more popular ones added to the game. Boise State getting an interception here, and they're going to bring out the skull. So, I mean, they're just doing a lot of stuff for a lot of teams. Now, again, some of this stuff has been in the game to a degree, but they're adding more and more for each team because every team should be unique and special, and they're just building them out more and more as the years go. And if you're talking about that stuff, you got to talk about the mascots. At this point, I think most of the mascots are in the game. We got 30 or so new ones in the game this year, and there's going to be a few more coming in some title updates. So almost every school that has a mascot for the most part is in the game now. So you're going to see them in pregame. You're going to see them on the sideline. And again, every team is just kind of being brought up to that same level of presentation and authenticity. Now, we got to talk about one of my absolute favorite things this year are the crowd themes. Now, these have been in the game, but they added a lot more. As you can see, we got the black and pink S for Penn State in the student section. We got the helmet stripe crowd for Penn State. I mean, just look how beautiful this looks. themed crowds are awesome. The blackout crowd for Texas A&M, I don't think that was in the game last year. Some people were asking about it. That's now in the game. So this is one of my favorite things. You got night game, you got pyro, you got, rivalries, all the big stuff going on. But when the crowd comes in unison, I mean, this is just a sight to see. But what I love this year is you could set these for any game. Last year and the year before, you had to get it in Dynasty for like big games, rivalry games. Now you can do play now, whatever you want to do, you can set these crowd themes for any game. And teams got a bunch of new ones this year. I don't know exactly all of the ones that are new and which ones are old, but tons of new stuff. You could see here just going through them on some of the menus to show you right before you load into a game where you pick the weather, the time of day, all that kind of stuff. You can now pick crowd themes as well. And I just think this is an awesome addition. Give us as much customization as possible because it's going to make us, stay on this game a lot longer. It makes the game a lot more fun. These are the things that keep me coming back. Now, we can't talk about presentation without talking about the new Heisman ceremony. We have been asking for this to come back. It's here this year in Road to Glory and in Dynasty mode. I'm not going to show the whole thing. I don't want to spoil it. If you want to see it for yourself, just kind of turn this off. I'm just going to show a few clips of the actual Heisman ceremony itself, but I think this is a great touch. I think they did a pretty good job with it. They show, the finalists up on the screen. They're going to walk out. They're going to be in suits. They got a bunch of different cutscenes. I think all together from start to finish the ceremony, I don't know, it might be like 45 seconds to a minute or something like that, but just a really awesome touch to the game for one of the biggest trophy in sports. Now, with all that said, another one of my favorite things this year has got to be the Holly Rowe sideline reporting. Let's check out some clips from what she has in the game this year.
Guys, Florida has been through the gauntlet with coaches lately, trying to find some stability. They have a new opportunity here with a young up-and-coming coach in John Summerall. He has been a proven winner at all of the stops.
And the good thing about it is everything is pretty dynamic with her. She has different stories for each team, so check this out.
Penn State made one of the most interesting hires of the offseason. Matt Campbell has shown that he can do it all at Iowa State. Tough nose, and he is a physical coach that makes sure his players play tough.
And what else I like about this is obviously not for every single team is she going to talk about a big story like a coach leaving, because that doesn't happen every year for every team, or a big transfer, but she can talk about other relevant things, for example, like the weather.
Well, guys, I did check in with the Eagles head coach pregame. He knows that there's a lot of excitement for this home game, but most importantly, the weather is clear. We were wondering how the forecast would shake out, and it is calm and beautiful.
And we can't talk about presentation without talking about dynamic weather. So notice here, second quarter, no snow. Fast forward to the fourth quarter, now it's starting to snow pretty generously. And you'll notice even later in the fourth quarter, now the snow is coming down much heavier. This right here makes every weather game feel completely unique. Here's another great example from earlier. I was live streaming on the channel. Notice in the first quarter, it's raining here. Now, I want you to notice in the second quarter, the rain has now stopped, but watch the ground. Notice how you're still going to see water splash because the ground is still wet. So even though it's not raining, the weather effects are still there. And now here in the third quarter, it starts raining yet again. So now you don't have to deal with the weather being the exact same from start to finish. It can literally start, stop, and start again in the middle of a game. Now, I talked about a lot of stuff, but this last thing here really surprised me because I didn't even know this was in the game. With your team builder teams this year, notice we now have runouts, and that's not it. There's actually more to it. Notice the logos on some of the fans and the crowd. But previous years, we didn't have runouts. We didn't have this presentation. Also notice the logo on the coach shirt. I also want you to notice on the back plates and the towels and the cheerleaders, they all have your logos on it now. So now when you do team builder, not only can you do your customized stadiums this year and your customized music and chants, but now you're going to have the appropriate logos on your gear, your coaches, your crowd, and your cheerleaders. And while that might not seem like a huge deal to everybody, I think to me that is a massive presentation upgrade because now the team builder teams actually feel on par with all of the real teams that are in the game. And if we're talking presentation, we have to talk about equipment, but I already did an entire video breaking down every new piece of equipment in the game, and you can check out that video right here on the screen.